Hi everyone, StariAri here. So we're gonna go on and give you guys some free guidance today. So go ahead and share, invite your friends. So the subject matter is fear-based limiting beliefs. What does it mean? I'll give you guys a little bit of info in a little bit. Just hold on. I gotta share on Facebook. All right. Let's see. Okay, so we're asking questions only based on fear-based limiting beliefs that you may have, and you might want some answers for. Okay, let's see. Okay, sharing. Hi, Elizabeth. All right, so today's questions are based on any fear-based limiting beliefs that you may have about yourself, about your life, about your spiritual path, things like that. Even when it comes to money, finances, especially when it comes to you moving forward with your life, including anything that has to do with relationship, the way that you perceive relationships with other people, romantic relationships, whatever it is. Okay, so whatever questions you guys may have, go ahead and type them in, and I'll go ahead and whoever I'm guided to, I'll go ahead and answer those questions. So I'll talk a little bit about what a fear-based limiting belief is specifically, so that you guys understand that. Okay. Sorry. I'm sharing my stuff to these groups and invite people if you want to, please. Okay. I know Facebook has been giving people a hard time lately with their live streams. The key words that they're looking at are free, or money or donation or anything like that. So be mindful of that. That's why you probably have a hard time streaming right now. Okay. All right. So let's get to the subject. So fear-based limiting beliefs, what are they? They are, as exactly what I said, they're anything that limits you, anything that holds you back, anything that is fearful for you. You may not be in fear, but you may be hesitant to move on with your life because of it, okay? It can come from your past, specifically from your upbringing. It can also be because of your, relationships with your parents, which were the very first loving relationships, or the very first relationships that you had to feel secure in and protected in. Okay, it can come from romantic relationships that you've had interactions with partners, things like that. It can also be based on spiritual manifestations, based on trauma, okay? Because everything that manifests within your spectrum of belief has a lot to do with your belief itself, that in the core root of any issues that you may have that you're suppressing, okay? Any fear-based limiting beliefs are just that. Any suppression, any issue that you may have internally, any conflict within, any conflict with other people, okay? That's exactly what happens when we manifest certain situations into our awareness, because we are not choosing to learn it in a more healthy way. We're choosing to learn it with other people. We're choosing to learn through spiritual experiences that might be frightening. So it's a choice, okay? Because we have denied these things, okay? We've denied our trauma. We've denied any issues that we have been confronted with, we've suppressed them. Okay, so that's the reason why these things happen, especially in the spirit sense of the word. That anything that comes or interacts with you spiritually speaking, any interactions with beings outside of you are truly not outside of you. Period. They're you. They're a manifestation of an existed issue. Okay. And so they may come out as something scary and frightening because of your belief in that as well. Okay. So whenever you have healers, specifically untrained healers, I would say that have never been trained to heal their own wounds. Instead, they rather try to assist other people instead of dealing with themselves. You run into that because they create what is called a group consciousness. Okay, so you start to merge with this healer's own belief system as well as your own. Okay, and there's a merger that happens where you interact with both your perceived information regarding your own belief system and their own. So you kind of match their frequency, therefore they exist in your reality at that time. The good thing about it is that they are kind of like a milestone on the road towards your own personal ascension. Meaning that they're here to teach you about things that you're still holding, things that you're still fearful of, things that you haven't healed within you. Okay. So yes, these can be harsh lessons, but you chose to learn this. Okay. There's no victims. There's no victims when it comes to spiritual growth. All right. We choose who our teachers are and be based on what we need at that time for growth. Okay. So this is a big lesson. All of us have probably experienced one or twice or I don't know how many times, but it's really important for us to acknowledge that, hey, thanks for the lesson. I learned what I needed to learn from this person, and it's time for me to move on to bigger and better things, because I understand now that me holding on to this limiting belief that was fear-based wasn't healthy, and now I can see it. Okay, so that's exactly what usually happens with the spiritual reality of things, especially when you go to a healer, especially if you have the same belief system. So it's like the same negative belief system cannot exist. There has to be an opposite reaction to it. There has to be a polarization issue that happens. Okay, so two negative people cannot exist harmoniously in an environment. There's got to be some give, and so usually there's going to be a common denominator, and is usually going to be you choosing to move on, okay, from that. And so that's usually kind of like the law of attraction. We attract like-minded people for an instant until we learn to move forward in a more positive mindset, okay, beyond that. All right. Let's see. Elizabeth Cruz Gonzalez says, I'm having major fear and anxiety around work. I requested part-time for next year and found out yesterday that it's not looking possible. I was devastated because I just wanted time to focus on family. Okay, so Elizabeth, let's go ahead and see what's really happening here, okay? So I'm going to call in your higher self and your guides. Okay, so I'm not sure if you, because this is what your higher self says, there's got to be a different way, okay? Meaning a different environment to do this in. So either you can either move forward into a different section within the same school system, meaning like maybe you can be back office, like maybe you could work at the district office, and they usually work like Monday through Friday, Thailand weekends off, but I think they have a shorter day than teachers. I'm not sure how your district works, but see if you can do that part-time there. I understand that you want to work with kids and everything like that, but if you want time and space, you have to be open to the idea of working somewhere else in the district, maybe going to a different school in the district too, maybe becoming a substitute teacher, maybe becoming part-time in that sense. Okay, so it's thoroughly up to you what you choose, but investigate those different avenues of approach. Because if we focus only on what we have at the present moment, meaning you're only focusing on your school, on the principal, and on that schedule, but you're not seeing anything else, any other possibilities within the school district, then you might get stuck in that rut, where you have to be forced to do something that you don't want to do. You want to cut hours. So you have to look at different avenues to do that in, okay? Even possibly moving to a different school district, okay? So there's a lot of different possibilities that you can have, or maybe becoming a teacher online too, okay? Because we have teachers who are online who teach kids that are in homeschooled as well, okay? So look at those possibilities. You're not limited. You're only limited to the expanse of your awareness of what possibilities you have right now as a teacher, okay? So that's the only thing that's limiting you right now is opening yourself up to other locations, okay? So that's something that I would definitely recommend, that you seek different schools, different jobs within the school district, or even looking at different districts, or even looking at possibly teaching homeschooled kids, because I think they only meet once a week or something like that. I'm not sure how it is out there in your state, but I know here in South Dakota, they only meet once a week. So all they do is correct, kind of like focus on the kid, asking them questions about like what they're learning, and taking accountability of what type of subjects they've learned, how many hours they've taken per subject for the week, things like that for the state, because the state regulates these things for kids, especially who are homeschooled, and so you can definitely do that. That's way beyond part-time. But it actually pays good, depending on which company you go into, okay? There are some school districts that have an equivalent to homeschool within the district itself. So look at those. There's so many things that you can do. Don't settle for just having no for an answer when it comes to your specific school, okay? Because there are a lot of things you can really, really do in try to assist you with finally accomplishing that goal of wanting to be part-time and having more time with your children and your family, okay? So that's all I have for you, Elizabeth. All right, let's see. No, you're not a big lazy baby. If you feel in your heart that you really truly desire to have more family time, more freedom, then I would definitely listen to your intuition on that, okay? Alex. Thank you, Kimberly. Okay, Brittany, see, I'm not sure if my question fits the topic, but if so, I'd love some insight on my roommate situation. He's a male, and he's not nice and a bit narcissistic, and this has been the worst of a cycle of not great living environments. Okay, so let's go ahead. I would say it does have a lot to do with the subject, in the way that what I'm hearing your higher self say is you might think that you need a roommate to be able to live comfortably, especially when it comes comfortably, especially when it comes with your financial situation. Okay, so this is the root cause of that fear of needing a roommate. Okay, and why roommates are presenting themselves to be so difficult. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what your higher self, because she's kind of like talking and elaborating on this. All right, so the first thing that they're showing is a financial belief. Okay, so rooting in fear in finances. Okay, not making enough, or feeling that you won't be able to afford to live by yourself, therefore seeking out roommates that are obviously not working out. Okay. So that being said, right there is the issue, is focusing on what you don't have. Okay. So we have to refocus on the possibility of you being able to make it through without having any other assistance in the way of a roommate to make those bills. Okay. So we're going to have to look um, at your job, at your the way that you're earning, at the possibility that there might be a different route that you can take with the earnings. Maybe there might be a different department that you could move into if they pay more, a bigger salary, possibility that you can take on more responsibility as well. There seems to be like this really like telling information coming in from your higher self saying that we are limiting our finances because of our belief system, because we believe that we are not she's saying that you believe that you're not capable of having more responsibility in the job, or having a position of power or authority. Okay. And that has to do with your certifications, your education, and things like that you feel are going to limit you or hold you back on that. Okay. She's saying for the matters to get better, you're going to have to finally be like, all right, I don't need anyone to live with me in order for me to make it. All I need to do is go for that, job placement, go for something that is going to expand my horizons, go for something that's going to definitely make me more money. Okay. State certifications are really, really important in your job. I hear state certification as well as education. Okay. So if you can, I'm not sure if you have a degree at all, but you don't really need a degree. You more or less need a certification. Okay. Maybe a degree, maybe like 2 years in college max, like maybe from a tech school. But it feels like you're going to advance as long as you find a way to advance. Okay. And so that's why you have these cycles of roommates being the way that they are, because you're not meant to live with someone right now. Like you're not meant to live with roommates. You're meant to live by yourself and be financially, abundant as well as stable. And so when that comes in, the fear of not having enough money or finances, then these cycles come in to prove to you that if you trust yourself, if you go for that goal, if there is a actual job placement that is calling for you or you are attracted to, then go for it. Okay. Sometimes we limit ourselves because we're thinking, oh, we don't have, the years, the experience. We don't have any of that stuff. But if you find that this job placement is continuously, there's a job that's like continuously cycling in over and over and over and over again because they can't find someone to fill the slot, then why not fill it? Why not you fill the slot? Because it feels like we limit ourselves when we think that we are not worthy of certain positions. Okay. So I'll give you an example. I used to work in a nursing home, and I started off within 2 months, there was a job that they were asking for. And this started when I started working. Like they've been asking to fill these slots since I started working. So I was thinking, oh, well, you know what? It's too early for me to ask for this job position, because that's like, you have to be working there for like over 6 months to a year. And I've been only working there for like a week, And so I saw this cycle, this trend coming in that they still haven't filled that position within 2 months of me working there. And so I decided, why not apply? If they are having trouble filling these positions, why not apply? And so I did. And then a month later, they told me, hey, let's do an interview. And I'm like, okay. So I did an interview with the head of the nursing department. And she's like, looking at all your life experiences before this, I would say, why not? Let's go ahead and try to train you and see how you do with training. And I'm like, okay. So I got trained. within less than a month, because it's supposed to be, I think, 60 days that you're supposed to get trained and then certified for the position. I did it within, I would say, 2 weeks max, that I was trained and certified, because I took the test right away, and I got 100%. I passed it, and so they are so fast. They were just like, wow, like you've never done, like any type of medication before, stuff like that. But this is awesome. Like you are a quick learner. And so I was passing out meds. I was a medication aide, and that actually, bumped up my pay raise to, like, I think it was $3 extra. And so that made me feel good, that I'm thinking like, wow, here I was thinking that was impossible to do because of the criteria, but I proved them wrong, And so for you, Brittany, I feel like there is something that's going to be calling your name, and you're going to be like, I'm not sure if I can do this because of the criteria that is not being met in your eyes. But if you try it because they really need people for that position, then why not? Why not try? Okay. So that's what I have for you, Brittany. And then, of course, that whole roommate situation is going to have to end soon. Okay. As soon as you decide, financially, I'm going to have more financial abundance, I'm going to have more help financially, therefore I don't need a fucking roommate to make my life miserable, then it's going to go away. Okay. So let's see. So who's telling you no? Is it your Elizabeth, is it your boss, your principal telling you no? Or is it the actual school district telling you no? The district, the one that actually moves people around? Because sometimes when they do that, it's because they're lazy. Your higher self said they're lazy. They don't want to do the paperwork to move people around, shuffle people around like that. And they're not willing to train a new teacher for your position. It might just be finances too, where the school district cannot afford to place a teacher in your position that doesn't know what's going on, over you being there for a while, right? And so I feel like there is just a lot of like laziness on the behalf of whoever's telling you this, as well as a fear of not having enough funding as well. So it's really important for you to try to seek other avenues of approach. Try not to take no for an answer. Okay. It's really important for that to happen, because I don't know why it like your higher self is like, they're lazy. They just don't want to their job, and she might be right. I don't know how it is in that school district, but I feel that it has a lot to do with their own scholarships and money, and how they're shuffling things around, and sometimes hiring new people is kind of like hard on them and things like that. So there's a number of things as to why they're probably telling you no, but for sure your higher self is like, she's like, this person, whoever it is just being lazy regarding the paperwork and how to shuffle things around. So just say what that higher self said. All right. Okay, let's see. Alicia Kelly, I'm having trouble in my relationship on deciding whether to stay when I feel like he is holding me down, but we have kids together. I am so conflicted on what is right decision for me. Okay, let's go ahead and call your higher self for this, okay? All right, so there are different options that you can take on this. The first thing will be to make sure that you have done everything in your power to try to fix the relationship itself. Okay. Meaning, like, you've asked this person that you're with to go to counseling, to have a mediator, to have a discussion of their feelings and express themselves more about what what's going on within them. Communication is the key in this way. Okay. So if you've done all of that, then the good thing for you to start looking into is starting to make a plan for exit strategy if you really do feel that it's time for you to move on. Okay. Having a plan, meaning like, okay, look at your finances. What can you afford on your salary? What can you afford moving away? Where are you going to move? Are you going to move close to this person? Are you going to move in a different city? Are you going to have to move your children's school? Things like that. I know it can be really overwhelming having to think about that, but you really do have to plan ahead. Okay. But it is possible to do. All right. So take it from me. I was in that same situation. I would say mine was easier because I'm the type of person that if I find something out, I'm done. You know, like I'm like I'm not a 3 strikes you're out person. I'm like 1 strike you're done. But I do have a child from a previous marriage. And when I was pregnant, I found out all this stuff about him and what he was doing behind my back. I got divorced right away. Like I was like, not gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait until my daughter is born into this situation, you know? And so that being said, I know yours is a little bit more difficult because you have a lot of children involved, but it's not impossible. It's just a matter of what you want to choose for yourself, what you're ready to choose. What are you ready to do right now? Okay. If, like I said, if you haven't tried working things out with them personally, like asking them exactly what's going on, are they, still interested in making this relationship work, not just because of the children, but because of your connection? Is there still love in a romantic sense of the word, of unconditional love, or is that just complacency, on their behalf? Like they're just used to having to be there, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're just here for the kids. That is not something healthy, okay, for both of you. So looking and breaking these things down, being honest with one another is a really huge step, okay? Especially if the relationship has been centered around not expressing yourselves, okay? Especially if that's the problem, is the lack of expression, the lack of communication in the way that you really feel about each other, especially when it comes to conflicts, especially for conflict resolutions to even happen. It feels like your higher self is saying it's just too much. It gets overwhelming sometimes. And so a best thing to do is try your best to try to fix things in the way that you ask for mediation, ask for assistance, outsider help. And if it doesn't go that way, if it feels like you're doing all the work still, then it's time for you to start looking at your future without this person. The kids are going to be fine. The kids are going to understand. Okay. The kids are going to be better off with having you happy and having him happy. Okay. Instead of having you guys continuously not talking or arguing or just being in a relationship that is showing these kids that marriage is not, I would say balanced. I don't like saying toxic because it just makes it very negative. It's just, there is good and there's good times and there is not so good times. Okay. And so the kids know the difference. All right. I would definitely be mindful of this, of sitting down and asking yourself, like, really, like, what am I going to do? If I really want to move on without this person, how is that going to look like? Am I going to be able to afford that? Where am I going to live? Or the kids are going to stay in the same school district, or am I going to move them away? Things like that. And then also with the divorce, like, how is that going to look? Is it going to be 50-50 split down the middle? Or are you going to ask for full custody with him paying for child support? Things like that. You have to think really thoroughly, but also I would always recommend a mediator as well. Someone who can help you with the legal paperwork as well, to help you ease your mind as to how to get through these days that are really tough, especially if you're going to take that step. Okay. But always remember that communication is the number one thing that you have to do. Okay. Communicate with one another, communicate your intentions, make sure that they understand that, you know, you did all you can to work through this. Okay. So that's what I have for you, Alicia. You're welcome, Brittany. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Hey, Aaron. I'm good. Yay, Brittany. Awesome. Hey, Dancing Dragons. I don't know if it's Josh or Adriana, but hello, you guys. If it's both. It's just the kids. Okay. Yeah, I know that's why thinking things through will definitely help you with that fear. Okay. Actually having a plan, actually having someone you can talk to about this process will definitely assist you moving forward as well. And even with the kids, talking to the children about a possibility of this happening soon and see how they feel about it. The kids do have a lot of input in that. I know some kids, especially the older kids, like your older kids, are going to tell you, yeah, you know, like it sucks, but but it's better to have a healthier environment than live in something that is like causing you grief, causing your partner grief, and causing them grief in the long run too. So I would definitely talk to your children, and so you could feel better about knowing exactly the direction to take with them. Okay. Because children will give you input. Like my daughter, she was really young when all this happened, but she still asked to this, like, I recently she asked like what was the reasons and stuff like that, and I was honest with her, you know, like you know, your dad loves someone else. So it's time to move on. And so she understands, you know, and so she kind of felt bad, you know, like, oh, I didn't know that, mom, like I'm sorry that happened. And I'm like, I'm fine, like I was perfectly fine with it. As long as he was honest. I really didn't have, I told her, I was like, sometimes you fall out of love with people, and I was out of love with him, he was out of love with me, but he chose to show that love to someone else while we were still married. So, you know, so I explained that to her, and she understood after that. So she wasn't like, oh, I don't feel bad anymore, you know. But yeah, so she understood, and she, like, I always communicate with her when we're moving somewhere, how she feels about that, and I always reassure her that things are going to get better, things like that. So make sure that you have a nice talk with your kids, and make sure you have someone that you can talk to about all of this stuff going on internally, especially someone that's going to be able to direct you to a good lawyer, direct you to, you know, legal issues that you might be faced with and things like that, so that you could feel more at ease about making your move. Okay. All right. Hi, Kimberly. Okay, so oh, Aaron, why are you cursing? Karen McSherry, like it had like this little thing saying, do you want to show your comment or not? Because it's like a curse word. So I'm like, okay, Aaron, why are you cursing? Let me read your comment now. So I'm curious what my higher self has to say to me. I've been dealing with some shittiness lately. From what? Okay. All right. Yeah, I understand. Okay, so let's look at what's really happening in astrology, and I'll probably give you guys a little bit more insight as to why you guys are feeling anxious, why you guys are feeling like there's something big happening. So we are still in the energy of I think it's Mars. Was it Mars and Capricorn? Or yeah. So that energy is really like, it's time for us to move forward with our lives. It's time for us to make a plan. It's time for us to execute that plan. And so that we can definitely have something, tangible to be proud of. Okay. This energy is a driving force. Okay. It is earth and fire energy, which is a perfect combination to build things with. Okay. So you have the Capricorn energy, that is your foundation energy. Okay. That is where you build your empire, what plans you're making for your future, how to actually go about doing this, right? Planning, plan. That's what the Capricorn energy brings. The Mars energy is the fire energy of movement forward, of let's go for it. Let's go for it without fear. Be fearless, And so everyone feeling anxious because you are afraid of change, okay? Anxiety comes from fear of the future, from fear of the unknown, okay? That's where anxiety is rooted in, okay? So we are especially if we're used to certain lifestyle, we're creatures of habit. We get anxiety when something is presented to us that we have to deal with, that we know that it's going to have a huge impact in our life. Okay, it's going to definitely transform our life. And we're never going to be the same. Okay, and that's where anxiety comes from. A lot of people's anxiety is fear-based as well, where we're thinking, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. And you're thinking worst case scenario, right? Like, oh my God, it's going to happen. I'm going to have like the worst time ever. It's going to be the worst choice ever, things like that. So that being said, this energy, this combined earth and fire energy is telling you things are going to be just fine. Okay. Because think about Capricorn energy. Think about it in the way of who are the CEOs right now in companies. They're usually Capricorns. Okay. Who has the best managerial strategy? Usually a Capricorn does. Okay. Who can juggle and who could balance the day-to-day monotony? Capricorn can. Okay. And so that being said, they are really keen on making things work out. Their goals are always met to the fullest of their ability, okay, because of the energy that they put into them. All right. They focus their energy onto that goal, and they don't stop for anything or anyone until they achieve that goal. The same thing looking at Mars energy is that fire is the Aries, okay? It is the wanting to move forward, the wanting to go through all of the obstacles undeterred, okay? With fearlessness, of course. And so when you're looking at this energy, you need to hone it in. All right. When you feel anxious, you need to hone in this energy of knowing that things are going to change. All right. And even if you're not sure how they're going to look, there's still going to be a positive change in the right direction for you. All right. Why? Because energy is continuous. It is infinite. It does not remain in the same place. Okay. If it's being pulled to a different location, there's a reason why. It is being pulled away from certain people. There's a reason why. Okay. And so be ready for those tremendous changes, because you're not supposed to be the same person you were yesterday, okay? You're not even supposed to be the same person that you were 10 years ago. You're supposed to grow, all right? You're supposed to transform with every day, every incident, every involvement in relationship. Everything changes, okay? Everything changes for the better, all right? And so with anxiety coming in, it feels as though those people who are really anxious are the ones holding on to the past, holding on to just clinging on to the moment, not wanting to change, okay? And so that is the transitioning period is coming for you guys, and that's why you feel that way, okay? Especially because we're transitioning from the Piscean age of illusion to the Aquarian age of expansion. Okay. And so with the illusion of Pisces, we see everything fall away. Everything that we thought was true is actually an illusion. We question ourselves, we question our beliefs, we question our relationships, we question our path, things like that, which is a good thing. Why? Because you're supposed to expand on that, with the age of Aquarius being the expansive force that is the all-seeing eye. Okay. They see everything for what it really is, and they choose a path that is better for them. Okay. Not because they're being told, hey, this is the better route by someone else, but because they personally know that in order for them to succeed in life, they need to choose a better path for themselves, for their happiness, for their abundance, for their peace of mind. Okay. So that being said, sacrificing yourself and your energy for someone else is a Piscean theory, and it's over. Okay. The Aquarius theory is about working together towards a common goal. If someone is not working with you, then they're working against the common goal. Okay. And it is not your responsibility to keep bringing them along if they don't want to. Okay. It's your responsibility to move forward towards this common goal with other people who are willing to help with it. Okay. And that's where the whole ascension process happens, where we're trying to build this new world, or the new earth theory, where we're trying to allow people to fight for their freedom or break through from their chains of oppression that we have created ourselves in society. Okay. And so, that being said, that's why this whole anxiety happens, because we have this really, really, really interesting energy happening right now. And with the full moon coming in Virgo being an earth sign, Virgo being a rational and analytical sign, we then seek to understand the changes and why we need to change to begin with. Okay. And also analyzing where we're going direction wise. Okay. And being okay with that. All right. That's what Virgo brings, is like choosing to analyze the truth of your existence, of your relationships with other people. And then finally, driving force will be like a fire energy that'll push you and propel you forward with the path that you've chose. Okay. After you analyze. All right. So that's really what's happening in like astrology right now. Like, in the energy is definitely mirroring that of your anxiety, because you're tapping into this limitation that you have of yourself. So it's time for you to work on that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, dealing with some shittiness. Okay, so Aaron, let's see what your higher self says about that shittiness that you're dealing with. Okay, so what's funny about what I pick up with you is that Gemini. Okay, there's a Gemini energy, and the Gemini is multifaceted, as well as it is progressive energy. Okay. Multifaceted in the way that it doesn't stick to one thing. Okay. It loves to explore different avenues of approach, different knowledge, understanding, and communication. Okay. Direction. It is also very open to learning in different ways. Usually they do choose conflict because they feel that conflict is something that helps them propel their knowledge as well as their movement forward faster than peace. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not their fault. They love a challenge, so to speak. All right. So what's going on with the shittiness is you are definitely feeling conflict coming in, from different personalities. There might be personalities that don't understand you because of your need to understand them. And they don't like that. There's some people who don't like to be pried at, like picked at, or like, oh, I know who, like, let me see who you really are type of thing. There's some people who don't like to be challenged. All right. And so the Gemini energy is one of those forces that is, because it's Mercury, it is communicative as well as challenging, because there is growth within that challenge. Okay. They seek it out because they know that it can transform the person that they're interacting with as well as them. Okay. And it feels like this is a great transformation energy that you're going to hone in on, especially when it comes to resolving your differences with people. Okay. Opening and expanding your mind is the key here. Seeing that other personality traits are different from your own is also really important, because what you're doing is you're kind of like one of those catalysts for people. Okay, you're that catalyst for change for people. Okay, you might not like it for the time being, but eventually you will see why. Okay, because these people have been going on their life without having anyone to kind of correct them or their behavior, as well as the actions that they're taking against other people. And so you like to highlight that, like you're like that beacon like of light that's like, hey, you know what, that's not okay, and also you can also be a teacher in that way, where you're like, okay, I'm highlighting this for a reason. This needs to change. This type of personality trait is not acceptable. It's disrespectful. It's time for us to move on to more healthier relationships and the more healthier interactions, things like that, because that's the purpose of your mission, is to try to tell people, hey, I hate saying this, but I'm seeing this type of behavior and that's not okay. And so you're, in so many ways, you're one of those protective energies where you do stick up for the people who don't have a voice or who are not willing to voice their opinions. Okay. So that being said, the shittiness will be over as soon as you guys communicate exactly what's really happening internally, where you communicate your what you're observing, and they communicate what they're observing too, but you have to have an open mind about it too. All right, so this is a lesson for you too, to be open to understanding that not everyone is like you and not everyone is willing to change. All right, and that's okay. As long as all right, so that's what I have for you, Erin. All right. Okay, that's weird. Let me see. Kimberly, panic attacks make sense. Try to love and love people. I've been 20 different people in one day. Well, you're going through your multidimensional selves, so that makes sense. Well, you know what, Kim? I think what is happening is, for you in particular, what your higher self is saying is those dreams have a reason why they're showing up, because remember, what is your focus on when it comes to relationship? Is wanting to have the perfect partnership, right? But also we have to see what actually is going on with the past, making sure that those cycles are closed. Okay, and so if you dreamed about a past lover, it's kind of like showing you how far you've come. Okay, it feels like it's like a direction, and like you're being directed to understanding, hey, look at all this stuff that you put up with, and now you're ready for something better. And therefore all of these challenges that you faced in the past are leading you towards the right person. Okay, understanding that sometimes that right person is going to trigger certain memories from your past relationships, though. Okay, because we still have to learn through our current relationships about our mistakes in the past. Okay, so that we don't accept the same mistake over and over again, and we are more communicative of our needs as well. So make sure you're ready for that, because I know when I was first dating my fiance, he brought a lot of things to the surface that I never dealt with in the past. And therefore, that's why the past went the way it did. I never really communicated a lot of my feelings to these people. So therefore, they didn't really know uh, how, I guess you could say, if I was emotionally there. And so, that being said, he brought that out because he was communicating everything. And I was just like, this is awkward. Like, I'm not used to this. Like, I'm not used to people expressing their emotions like this. And you know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is weird. But he definitely helped me with that because I felt okay with communicating my emotions. I felt like I was connecting to them deeper in a more loving manner instead of being like, oh, emotions are weakness, you know, like revealing too much of how I feel is weakness, you know, or whatever that they can hold against me, things like that. So that being said, he helped me heal that a part of me. And yes, it did trigger memories from the past on how I withheld information, especially my emotions and my reactions from past, you know, relationships. And I was just like, oh my God, like, why is this coming up? And it's because I needed to heal that, because I knew that in our relationship, there has to be open communication lines at all times. There can't be anything being withheld. You know, nothing can be withheld. Everything has to be like truth. Okay. And so that's what I learned. But I think that's what you're going to learn too, is that's why you're being fed this information from the past, so that you could prepare for the future to come, where you might feel that type of interaction with them, not in the same way, but in the way of communication. Like, how do you feel about when he does something like this? Well, it reminds me of that guy and how he did it before. So how did I interact with that guy before when he did it? Okay, this is a different way, so I'm going to act differently with this guy and how I'm going to communicate with him, you know? So there's a lot of things that you're learning in dream space that are preparing you for the future to come. Okay. Brittany, I'm ready for change. My ego needs to chill. They are, Aaron. Oh man. Hi, Susan Lee. I haven't seen you in a while, Susan. I'm glad you're here. Oh, Brittany. You're welcome, Kimberly. You're welcome, Susan. You're welcome, Aaron. That's good, Kim. You do deserve better. No going back. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Amy. Okay, let me see if I scroll all the way up. Let's see. Okay, Aaron, Cheryl Simpson. Why am I limiting myself to believing that I should only live on welfare? I draw, right? I take pictures. I can do all of them. So why am I stopping myself from earning an income? Okay, so let me go ahead and connect with your higher self on that. Okay, so I heard the word rejection. Okay, there is a part of you that is going through a cycle of rejection where you reject some certain aspects of yourself, certain talents, because you fear that other people are going to do the same thing. Okay, other people are going to reject you. Other people are going to criticize what you are here to do, or they're not going to completely embrace you as a person. Okay. Whenever we put limitations, especially on our talents and possibly on an income earned based on the talents that we have, it usually has to do with the fear of being rejected or accepted 100% by people. Okay. This can stem from a life of unacceptance from your, it feels like from a lot of people in your life. It feels like parents. It feels like siblings. If you have siblings, it feels like there seems to be like a cycle of feeling like you cannot be yourself. Maybe you were told a long time ago that the stuff is silly, or you're making things up, or things like that. So if it feels like you cannot express yourself in the way, or it feels like people are not going to accept your self-expression in the way of artwork, or they're just not going to understand it. Anyone who is talented, and it's not like, oh my God, you're like so fucking talented that your shit should be in the museum, not like that talent, meaning like they actually use creativity to express themselves, is and will find a direction towards abundance in that way. Okay. Because what you're using is the feminine as well as the masculine. When you use information from the feminine, where it becomes artwork, and then from there you motivate yourself to showing that as the masculine energy, then you have 100% belief that this is going to sell, 100% belief that you will make and earn an income from this. Okay. So it's a matter of balancing those energies. You have a lot of feminine, but you need more masculine. Okay. You have to bring in that masculine energy of propelling this effort forward. Okay. Making a plan, grounding that energy into the earth by creating these beautiful things and then selling them. Okay. That's really important, is selling them. It's just presenting them to the world and saying, you know what, I just created this, I just channeled this message, I just channeled this artwork, and I put this and this and that energy into it, and here it is for like, this is how much it is, this is how much it's going to cost, things like that, and shipping and handling, things like that. So I would definitely start with that, with channeling both energies to assist you in finally moving forward, because you can sell art. All right. You can sell creativity. All right. Especially if it's heartfelt energy. Okay. It's definitely there. So yeah, so you can get past it through your artwork. Okay. Going into your inner child work in particular, meaning going back to the past. When was the first time that you felt rejected, unaccepted by people? When was the first time this happened? And just expressing that in a healthy way through art, through creativity, like maybe getting like a empty canvas and just, without even using tools, maybe with your own hands, just painting, using colors that express that emotion. It's like, wow, like this is healing for you. You have to do it in the sense that you want to go to the past, work with your inner child. At the same time, you want to heal this at the same time. Okay. So it definitely, therapeutic healing happens through artwork for you in particular, where you express it through this means. Okay. So that you understand that, hey, that inner child doesn't need to live in that past anymore. It can move on into the future through self-acceptance. Okay. Self-love, and understanding that, hey, I learned from these people. I don't have to keep them, I don't have to keep these memories in the present moment. I know that my worth is beyond what their words were. And I know that I will be accepted by everyone that I come into contact with thoroughly in this present moment or in the future. Okay. And so it's kind of like you're reassuring your inner child that that past is over, that we're moving on, and we're going to be protected, and we're going to be loved unconditionally by other people. Okay. And so when you start doing inner child work, this is something big that's going to open that gate for you. It's going to help you with healing that. Okay. So Definitely looking at the root causes, going back to that time, accepting that it happened, and then accepting the fact that you can't change it, but also moving forward with your life. Okay. Understanding, okay, who do I have in my life right now who are loving? Okay, this person. Who do I know that I deserve more loving relationships, things like that. Okay. So it's definitely working through that. And it's going to take as long as you need to, okay? And it's not going to be overnight. It's just going to take as long as your soul needs to work through things through, all right? Ice cream. All right, Brittany, have a good night. Okay, there you go. So, with the love that you have with your children, you can definitely express that love towards your inner child too. Okay, treating yourself in a loving fashion that you treat your children. All right, and so that'll help you heal your inner child, help you heal from your past. Okay, so it definitely takes time. All right, and effort, of course, than any more than anything. All right, let's see. And there we go. Okay, let's see. Okay, you guys, if you guys are just coming in, we're working on fear-based limiting beliefs. If you guys have specific questions on your own personal one, definitely put it in the comments section, okay? Let's see. Susan Lee, do you have insight around fears of taking first steps? I'm feeling better about my vibration, and spirit says make it public, but I'm like, what? Make what public? Okay. All right, Susan. So we're going to go ahead and connect to your higher self and see that. So, okay. So self, making yourself more public, meaning like interactions in a public manner. I feel like, okay, so I'm hearing kind of like friendships as well as interactions with other people that are strangers and could become possible new allies. I'm also hearing kind of like networking, okay, networking. And expressing your emotion, your spiritual gifts. Okay, so I feel there is a centered focus on you writing about your experiences, and sharing that insight with other people, like what you've learned from your experiences, what you learn with your interactions with other people, your relationships of the past, and anything that brings forward your emotional self and how you healed certain aspects of yourself, because it feels like you're ready to express that, like you're ready to be kind of like a life coach pretty much. And so you giving information about like, okay, my experience with my mom, for example, how it was, things like that, and how you healed from it, or how both of you guys learned to heal from your relationships, things like that, or even my relationship with my kid, things like that. It feels like there is definitely an expression of healing that needs to be done publicly so that people can have some insight onto, if especially because there feels like there is definitely a connection out there with a lot of people when it comes to relationships with parents and kids, and how to be a better parent, how not to do the mistakes that your parents did, things like that. And so you in particular are going to be one of those people who are going to help and assist people through that, because you've done the work too, and so you've taken the time to definitely work through things internally, and communication is very important for this to happen. Also networking, it's like getting out of your shell, getting out of your bubble. That's what your higher self is saying, and expanding it just a little bit, a little bit beyond your comfort zone, I would say. So it feels like you're heading in that direction and being more public about assisting people. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Susan. All right. Hi, Norma. All right. So let's go ahead and see if I have other people having questions. So again, you guys, it's all about fear-based limiting beliefs, anything that's limiting you right now, anything that you feel you should work on, how to express that, things like that, and move forward. Okay. You're so welcome, Susan. Thank you. Amy, oh, let's see. What's going on with your fear? Let's see, Amy, did you ask anything? I'm like trying to find. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think what I have found and my personal experiences with working with many people from different backgrounds is we all have similar fears that we're working through with one another, and in particular is the self-expression fear, where we have been undermined before, or we've been told that our feelings are being rejected, or they're not compatible with the situation, or like especially when you're a child, being told that you need to be quiet and stop crying, things like that. And I find that's a cycle that when I interact with people, especially for healing work, that they've had a similar cycle as I do, and it's really challenging for people to break it, because we have to go back to the root causes. We have to actually explore that initial feeling of being rejected, of our feelings and our emotions being told, being told that we were wrong for doing that, for expressing ourselves, like stop crying, or shut up, not right now, things like that from our parents. And it's because they have had the same experiences as we did as children. So they were told themselves that emotions and expressing them publicly is not okay, or expressing them even in private, it wasn't okay. And so I find that this is a big challenge for a lot of people right now, is expression, is expressing their emotions, is actually feeling them, even if they're like harsh, even if they go into like a dark place, things like that. It feels like a lot of people have rejected that aspect for a very long time, and therefore it manifests into their reality in different ways. And so usually that has a lot to do with having to work through our inner child issues with our parents, with relationships that we have with intimate partners, things like that. And so I see that cycle coming up a lot. And for me personally, the thing that helped me was actually working through it with the people. But that's different for me. I'm very fire energy, where I will be confrontational. And so I know it's not I know it's not I would say I know it's not doable for a lot of people, but for me, in my own way, the way that I heal is through confrontation, through confronting the issue head on. And if I am if I am blocked from confrontation, meaning the other person is intimidated and won't talk to me, then it pisses me off like no other. Like, because I'm just like, I'm trying to fucking fix this. Like, like I'm trying to heal this about myself, and you are not allowing me to, And so that's something that I had to work through as well. And because I can be very, very intimidating. Like I've heard this before numerous times, where the way that I direct my energy or how blunt I am is intimidating. So it does hinder communication lines, I would say. But I have learned through this, where I've learned through my fiance in particular, how to express myself in a more like compassionate way, where I know even if I'm pissed off, I have to like dial it back a little bit and just be like, you know what? I am really mad right now, so I'm just not going to say anything, and I'm going to dial it back until I'm ready to tell you why I'm mad, And so, yeah, I've learned that. Because I would say years ago, I confronted my mother regarding the way I felt when I was brought up, and the way that I was rejected with expressing my emotions towards her, or when I was told to shut the hell up, or slapped across the face because she didn't want to hear it, or she felt like I was embarrassing her because I was really like just telling her exactly how I felt regarding certain situations or certain people, and she just was like, wow, no, and so I was kind of muted as a child not to say things, and so as an adult, I would say as an adult, that's when I started to have conflict with people, because I wouldn't say how I really felt about them. And so in recent years, I had to begin to heal that, because my fiance was getting really aggressive in his tactics on how to help me to communicate better. And so I was just like, why is this happening? And so so I decided, oh my God, the root of the issue is my relationship with my mom and how she treated me when I started to express myself. And so I confronted her about it, and it was crazy. I like really blew up emotionally, and so she blew up emotionally. And so it kind of like, I was just like, okay, I need to work on my tactics on how to express myself, so I won't have her shut down, because she wasn't used to it, because she was herself suppressed as a child. And so we worked through it. We started to communicate better, and after, of course, our blow up, and things are way better now with us, but still, like, I try not to, the words that I've used were really harsh, and so that's why she blew up. But it was me expressing the way that I felt, and so I didn't see it in her way either. So when I opened up and saw why the way that things happened when I was a kid is because the way things happened when she was a kid, as well as like a cycle of just conflict that came from our ancestry. And so it had to end with us, and that being said, I feel that everything that happens with children at this point in our lives, especially we have children and we cannot express our feelings as a child, we try to assist our children in expressing themselves, so that they could have a better life than we did. And so that being said, we can still heal that aspect of ourselves, our inner child, through working with our kids, or if we don't have kids, through working things through personally with a mediator, or maybe confronting the person, like, again, if you are ready for that. Like, I was ready for that, because I am very confrontational and I thrive in that, and so I feel like I learn a lot from confrontations. And it's not, it doesn't have to be negative. It just has to be an open, like, hey, this is how I feel. I feel this is happening. I feel this is why, and things like that. But people have to be receptive to that as well. So I like it because at least when me and my fiance have to express ourselves, we are very like, hey, let's sit down and talk about this because this is not okay, and so that's how I do things. But if you don't have to be like that, you don't have to follow my steps because it's definitely intense. It's not for the light of heart. But you can definitely do your own self-healing work with your inner child if you wish to do it in that way. Okay. All right. Amy, let's see. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Amy, yep. That's exactly how I have to like be like, dial it down. Certain people can't face, the fire. Certain people are ready for it. I feel in my experience, the fire and air signs are definitely ready for that stuff, but it's kind of like earth signs are like, no. Like, no, don't come over here with that shit. They're like, it's like usually on their terms, and water signs are just open for it too, but they're more of like, they're more in their feels, and so they kind of tend to maneuver through any type of conflict through their own emotions, right? And so with fire and air, I feel it's more of like, yeah, it's intense, but it's also based on logic. So with anything, if you have a conflict with a fire sign or with an air sign, just be ready for that to actually go through. Okay, like they will express how they feel too, so just be ready for that. But with an earth sign, it's kind of like hitting a brick wall. They're like, not today. Maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow about it. And with water signs, it's kind of like, oh, why are you doing this? And it's usually on their terms too. I find that is so like, I find that earth and water is usually on their terms when we, face issues or we resolve issues. And for fire and air, it's just like, let's do this. Come on, let's do this. Except for like Libra. Libra's kind of like, I have to think of exactly what to say so that this doesn't escalate. Because fire is just like, let's do this, let's do it. I don't care what you. Oh my God. You're a Taurus. Well, maybe it's your moon. What's your moon sign? Your sun in Taurus, but there's always going to be a driving force based on how you express yourself through your moon sign. So if you have like a fire sign as a moon sign, then you're definitely ready for a challenge. Like you're like, yeah, let's do this. Let's see. Who else? I think I wrote something down here. I still ripples, Terrell. You're going through a really difficult time as a Capricorn rising and are facing so many money fears and self-esteem with all these planets in your first and second houses. Any advice? Okay, so I keep hearing Mercury for you for some reason. Like there's like kind of like an opposing energy with that, as well as kind of like Pluto. So when this usually happens, when you have like these opposing forces, especially for Capricorn, it's really difficult to see a clear picture, right? Or to feel like you are on stable ground, because there's a lot of different energies taking away that the feeling of security for you. Um, but at the same time, they're trying to help you understand that you've been secure and you're always going to be secure in your finances. Okay. When it comes to fear of not having enough, it's definitely leaning from when you're looking at your purpose, as well as your foundation, how you built that. Capricorns always, especially a Capricorn rising, they always want to have a plan. Okay, your strategy, your strategist. You always have to have a plan A, plan B, plan Z. You know, everything has to be planned out. Everything has to fall into place the way it's supposed to, right? And so when it comes to like these energies that come in and are like, no, we're gonna go ahead and dismantle this plan. We're gonna maneuver your way to a different route, and you're not ready for that. It's really difficult, to transition. And it's kind of like, because of your Capricorn rising, is definitely having that hard time for transitioning, for letting go of things, okay? And trusting that you are protected and you are secure whatever direction you take, okay? Having an open mind to possibilities of changing when it comes to how you make money is really important for you, okay? Like, for example, if you've been doing something for a very long time and you find that you're not making the same money that you did before, then this is the universe telling you, you should try a different method. You should try to bring something new to the table to kind of like assist other people with, okay? Maybe expressing your the way that you accumulate wealth in a different manner. Maybe having a plan for a fallout, or savings options, okay? Or possibly having a new idea that you're going to implement and share with the world so that you can bring customers to you, okay? So it feels like there's definitely different options that you can take for you to make money, okay? If the same thing that you've been used to hasn't worked out lately, okay? And that's because the Capricorn is used to a plan, a solid plan, and they stay within the perimeters of those plans until something rises that helps, is forcing them in so many ways to change direction. Okay, so this is definitely money related. So you have to bring in something that'll make money. Okay, bringing in an option that'll make you money. All right, possibly investing in something that'll make you money. Okay, so it feels like you have a lot of different approaches that you can take, but sit yourself down, make a plan on what direction you want this to go, what you want to offer to the world to have them contribute to, bring you more abundance. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up for you. All right. Let's see. You're welcome, Amy. Okay, let's see. Let me see. So Christine Buckingham, after a bad divorce and starting over, I have fears about moving forward and applying for new jobs now, and which direction to go forward. Thanks. Okay, let's see, Christine, what your higher self has to say. All right. So there is definitely healing that needs to be done regarding that past relationship or your divorce. Okay. It feels like this person that you divorced had a lot to do with manipulating the way that you think about yourself, especially how you make money, what you're good at, talent wise, and things like that. It feels like they cut you down a lot in order for them to feel better about themselves. So they definitely saw that you were rising, like intuitively, like speaking self-esteem wise as well. And they would do things or say things to hit your self-esteem, and cut you down. And so that being said, you're gonna have to heal these aspects of yourself with this relationship. And I know it's really fresh right now, and it does take a while to finally feel like, that's over with or whatnot, and that you can move forward in your life. But when you tell yourself, hey, you know what, everything that this person was saying was false. The reason why they were doing this, they were lashing out at me, is because they themselves had been through the same situation when, other partners or possibly with their own parents. You will start to see that, what, you're going to start to realize that you can detach from that. Okay. And you can move forward in your life knowing that you deserve better, especially with work. Okay. You're a very talented individual. You have a lot to give to a company. So it's really important for you to reflect that when you get interviewed. Okay. Don't just go for jobs that you think, oh, okay, I guess I'll get hired here. No, actually go through a job that you really want to do. Like, put yourself in the, I would say, put yourself in like a situation where you're at that job and how happy it'll make you feel being there, and as well as ask yourself questions like, okay, what is it about me that is going to make me get this perfect job? What do I contribute to this company, to these people, things like that? What makes me better above all the other candidates that are applying? When you start to think that way, in more positive way about yourself, and reject the words that were told to you in the past, then you're going to see a transformation with what type of jobs you should definitely go forward with. Okay. Don't settle for minimum wage jobs. Don't settle for jobs that are just an easy, quick pay. You deserve something that is going to be long lasting and more of like a growth for you, professionally speaking, as well. Okay. If you have to go back to school or get a certification, then you definitely should. As well as, again, doing at the same time simultaneously healing from the negativity that you went through as well. Okay. Because you are not anything of that what this person was saying to you. Okay. So that's what I have for you, Christine. All right. Let's see. Mahala. Okay. Let's see. Find that you often feel like there is something lacking, that what you do is not enough. You know better at times. Any insight? Okay. So let's see what your higher self says about that. Okay. So right now in this present moment, what your higher self is saying is that nothing is really lacking. Nothing is really missing. Okay. It's just a feeling of youth looking to you looking at the future, and you also comparing yourself to other people. It feels like you're in your comparison to other people, it brings you into this feeling of like, man, I should be there right now, or I should be like that person right now, or I should be successful in that way right now, things like that. But the missing issue, or the feeling unfulfilled, is that it comes from that. It stems from comparisons of somebody else's life. Okay. You are where you're supposed to be right now. Okay. You're learning what you're supposed to learn for your soul's growth, and you're moving forward in the right direction for you. Okay. No one can dictate otherwise. All right. If you want something, you can attain it. It's just a belief, okay, that you have to believe in yourself, that you can succeed, and have patience with the journey as well. Okay. It feels like I want this right now type of energy. Okay. And yes, you definitely can instantly manifest things, but make sure that you're doing it properly. Okay. In the way that you know that this is long lasting. All right. When it comes to career, especially career, that's what they're hitting on, is it takes time to evolve or to go into the position that you really desire. Okay. It's not overnight. It does take time and effort, but you will get there. Okay. As long as you put in the effort, you put in the work, and you believe in your success as well. Okay. A lot of people that feel like that emptiness around them is, or within them, it has a lot to do with their relationships with others as well, where they find themselves feeling like they have failed somehow because they're not married with like 10 kids by now. Or they have failed somehow because they're not with a like a health in a healthy relationship, or they fail somehow because they don't have the picture perfect life that they believe that they would have when they were kids, right? Or possibly it has a lot to do with outside influences, with like maybe parents being very overbearing. Also, like thinking like, okay, you're like odd years old, you should be in a really successful career by now, or you should have been, you should have been married by now, things like that. So there's like a lot of circumstances that I feel like are surrounding you in particular, with people around you, and with comparing you to them. Okay. So I would definitely not listen to them. I would definitely respectfully tell them to go love themselves somewhere else, because you are where you're supposed to be, and you are necessarily not supposed to be doing what they think you should be doing. Okay. You're supposed to be ruling your own life. You're supposed to be going in the direction that your soul wants. Okay. So that's what I have for you, Mahala. You're welcome, Christine. Okay. Let's see. I think I had someone up here somewhere. You're welcome, Maxine. Okay. So let's see. Okay, let's see what time it is. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to end with this advice for anyone who is seeking to have a spiritual career, or moving on to a more of like a spiritual inclined type of business, things like that. So I would definitely advise that, for one, continue your healing journey, okay? Because this is really important. Especially if you're going to be a healer, especially you're going to be reading for people, make sure that your filters are clear, okay? Make sure that you're an open channel, that you're not judging yourself, you're not critiquing yourself, you're not fearing any insight, or fearing that you're wrong, things like that. So you're not doubting yourself. Okay. So that's one thing that you have to do daily, I would say. Like making sure that that the way that you express your intuition and things like that is unique to you. Okay. Don't compare yourself. Okay. Don't compare yourself to any other healer, any other intuitive out there. Okay. You are unique. Your information is unique to your filter. Okay. Another thing I would advise is making sure that you're not being surrounded by limiting people, like people who are going to limit you and your expression, who are fear-based, okay? Like telling you through their own fear filter that the things that you're doing are wrong. Okay, like, oh, that's devil or that's evil, things like that. That's another thing. All right. And then number 3 is making a plan of action on how you're going to express that you are here to assist other people in this way. There are free websites out there that you can build. There is definitely a connection in Facebook, for example, for business pages. You can definitely start off with joining groups which will allow you to read for people, okay? But also make sure that you know the rules of the group, okay? I know one of the groups is Spirit Basket live readings, where they let you read if you are drawn to a actual person's post. They'll let you read for them for free, okay? And this is just for free. You can't read for money, okay? So if you want to fine tune your intuitive skills, if you want to practice on people, you could definitely do that there. But I do advise you guys to have a contingency plan when it comes to legal stuff. Like make sure that your state, you know, the rules for your state for a spiritual business. You have a disclaimer on your business page as well as on your website regarding what you can and cannot do legally, so people can understand that. And also, you know, open up your own account, like PayPal account, because everybody uses PayPal, or there are other means of transferring money and things like that too, okay? But also it's just actually sitting with yourself and expressing that you really want to do this, okay? And having that confidence. And so that's a daily thing. That's daily need for you to remind yourself that you are here to assist others, okay, in their own journey. We're not here to save them, okay? That's a big one right there. You're not here to save anyone. You're not here to carry their weight, okay? You're here to assist and detach, okay? Assist them for what it is that they need at that time, and then detach from that outcome. If they choose to use your assistance, then that's beautiful. But if they choose not to, then that's okay. That's their path. All right. So don't be upset if they don't. Okay. It's okay. Don't be upset. All right. They're on their own journey. So that'll help you with being disappointed. All right. So anyway, so that's all I have for you guys. If you guys need more information on businesses and things like that, I would definitely look into like YouTube, how to build your own business, what it is that you need for your state. Look into those laws is really important for that. And then of course, have a disclaimer set up on if you're building a website for free, you know, a good website would be wix.com to build the free website. If you can't afford to, you know, pay for a monthly fee. I have my website only pay for like, I think my monthly fee is like $30. That's it. And it's my Wix website. Okay. And so that's because it includes the domain name that I paid for. So that's all I have advice wise for those who are willing or wanting to step into your own spiritually based business. All right. So thank you guys again. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And tomorrow, myself, Jax Atlantis, and the Peace Dealer will be on this channel doing some live readings, tarot readings. And then we're going to be doing a quick view of the transits for next week coming up with the full moon in Virgo, as well as we're going to be doing a quick tarot scope for the week as well. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to start at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 6:30 Mountain, 7:30 Central, and 8:30 Eastern. Okay, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.